Most children enter kindergarten at the age of 5. However, the years leading up to that first school experience are really important. That's when a child's brain develops the fastest and can benefit from early childhood learning. My next guests are part of a collaborative that's helping to fund quality Head Start programs for Detroit children and families. Brisson is from the Kresge Foundation for Southeast Michigan, and Wendy Jackson is with the Kresge Foundation. Thanks for being here on American Black Journal. So we've been talking in this state, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years, a lot about early ed and how important it is. I think there have been some significant victories in terms of public support for that, expanding that opportunity for early education. I think we're spending almost $120 million more a year trying to make sure kids have opportunities, but there is still a lot of work to do, and Detroit is sort of ground zero for where that work starts. I'll let you talk some about that first, Wendy.
Sure. So again, thanks for having us. And you know, the whole issue of early childhood development and early learning is just has so much momentum nationally, but as you mentioned, in the state of Michigan, where there have been both public and private investment to expand options for families with young children, to make sure that they get their children into quality programming as early as possible so that they can enter kindergarten prepared.
Yeah.
And so in Detroit, a number of foundations have come together to provide kind of leadership for public-private partnership efforts underway in the city. And one of the ones that we're going to talk about today is the Detroit Head Start Innovation Fund.
Yeah, and Head Start has been sort of a controversial, and I don't want to say a controversial program in the city, but the way it's been handled in the city, I think, has been controversial. The public school system often has struggled to fill out the paperwork, even to make sure that they get their funding. You guys are sort of looking at this from a different.
Right. Yeah. So these 8 foundations that came together 3 years ago now. We came together because the federal government announced that Detroit would be one of 5 cities in the country to pilot a new way of providing Head Start, which is very exciting. And so we came together, pooled about $5 million together to support the newly selected Head Start agencies. And you're right, it used to be run by the schools and others, and now there's a group of 10 nonprofit agencies in the city that are providing this. It's been a great collaborative, not only of the funders, but of the 10 Head Start agencies.
Sure.
And so we wanted to tell you today a little bit about this enrollment campaign that all 10 organizations have come together to reach the parents, to let them know about these new Head Start slots.
Yeah, and that's really one of the challenges, is even if you get the program up and running and available, letting families know that it's there and that they need to go get their kids enrolled. It's a challenge, especially in a city like Detroit.
Right. So when the 8 foundations, when we first learned that we were going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity in Detroit in partnership with the federal government, we really put our heads together around what would be the best collaborative approach that would kind of spread the word about the fact that we have this opportunity, improve quality within Head Start, and also put funding in place so that more innovative ideas among the 10 organizations could kind of come to the forefront.
Yeah.
And so with this Head Start Innovation Fund, we've been able to create a learning network that includes the 10 agencies so that they can kind of talk about in a safe space how to improve programming, how to collaborate better to improve programming. And this campaign is one of the first efforts coming out of that new learning network.
Yeah, and when you say that there are 10 agencies around town that are doing this, give me an idea of what those agencies are.
Yep, so Southwest Solutions, Focus Hope, Matrix, United Children and Family Services, New St. Paul. So there's a number, Starfish Family Services, a number of really great agencies that have come together, and they're each serving different zip codes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things that we helped, that they asked for, was we created DetroitHeadStart.com, a website, a one place that parents can go to find out where is the Head Start in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so what's the goal here? Are there target numbers that you guys are looking at in terms of enrollment?
There's some very clear numbers right now. Yeah, there's about 3,000 kids in the Head Start and Early Head Start system in the city, and there's about 1,500 open slots right now.
Okay.
The big change is that 1,100 of these open slots are Early Head Start, which means you can have your child in Head Start at 6 weeks old through
Wow.
3 years are those slots. And that's what a lot of these agencies have gotten, have been working hard to build their infrastructure to really provide for that early population.
Yeah, and is that a new part of Head Start that
It's been a
really
part of
really-
Head Start, but again, it's significantly expanded. It's about a 200% expansion of those early Head Start slots in Detroit. And also with this new model, it's really looking to serve the whole family, not just the child. So
Yeah.
a pregnant mom can actually come to Head Start to sign up her child before she's given birth.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did. First, that often Head Start is an entree to programming and opportunity for a whole family, parents, other siblings who also have service needs that may not be addressed.
Yeah, and so that's why so many of the foundations came together around this network and to build this fund, is because Head Start is a cornerstone of any kind of high quality early childhood system in a city.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of one part of a much grander set of plans that a number of foundations are coming together around to unveil later on in 2015 and 2016 to really build out a comprehensive system for young kids in Detroit.
Right.
And imagine that if Detroit becomes a city that serves young kids well, what are the possibilities?
Right. What else will be affected by that? What other problems that we are all trying to solve? What might even be easier or go away? Talk about the connection between things like Head Start and the other problems that we do see in the city. How much of an impact will it have if you get these 1,500 more kids? We'd have 4,500 kids. I would imagine that if we added up the total number of kids who need this in the city, we'd come up with even bigger numbers, right?
Sure, I think that's the case. So we were able to, as funders, kind of do a pilot to test out kind of what is the state of kindergarten readiness in the city. And in that pilot, we found that about 15% of kids in those targeted neighborhoods that we were working in entered kindergarten prepared. So again,
15%. Wow.
So that is why we came together around Head Start and are looking at other opportunities as well. But to your point, if we could start to begin to kind of change the trajectory of kids' lives much earlier, education begins at birth, and kind of start to instill that in a community network, we can start to see greater impact when kids hit the kindergarten door. And with the work that's underway, which I know you're very familiar with, around education reform overall in the city, really to begin to build out that pipeline. And so that's why we've made a commitment at the Kresge Foundation to invest about $20 million over the next 5 years just in this issue alone.
Yeah. One of the things that I hear, one of the criticisms I hear about philanthropy in the city, and I feel like this is a particular age of philanthropy in Detroit where nonprofits are behaving differently than they have before, are doing more, taking on some things that maybe they weren't interested in doing before. One of the criticisms I hear is that you guys won't get involved with this kind of existing program, stuff that frankly the government is supposed to be doing. So this is sort of a change, I guess, in direction. All of these foundations sort of linking arms and saying, well, here's something that is so important that maybe displacing government funding is not such a bad thing.
Well, I would say on this one we came together because, too, we want to let the federal government know Detroit is a place to do business and that we do want to do things differently.
And is the idea that maybe the federal government will come back in with more funding if this works?
Yeah, right. So we worked hard, and part of our initial effort to come together as funders was to send a message to DC to say we should be one of the pilot cities for this project, and the money does belong here.
Right.
And so that's why we're really invested in making sure this new Head Start system works, and we definitely are hoping that then that money will continue.
Yeah.
And there's signs that say it will. It's still a little too early, but we're working hard to make sure it does.
Right. So where are you in the campaign to get these 1,500 kids signed up?
So it just launched about 3 weeks ago. So and again, any parent can go to DetroitHeadStart.com, find out where the Head Start Center is in their neighborhood. There are 60 Head Start centers in the city. And we already know we have about 120 families that have signed up just in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
Since the word is getting out. And we are partnering with a number of media outlets as well to get to the media that is in local neighborhoods.
Yeah. And does Head Start runs all year too? It's not just commensurate with the school calendar, correct?
It's different, a little bit different center to center, which is why going to the website's the place to tell you about that, because many of the centers are school year, but there are
some of them are school year,
some of them are
some
school
of
year,
them
but some of them
are-
are throughout the summer too.
Yeah, yeah. What do you see as the other possibilities here? I mean, how much can we accomplish through expanding Head Start, and can we expand it even further than what we're doing here?
Yeah, one of the things that the Kresge Foundation and the Kellogg Foundation have been investing in is helping Detroit develop its first kind of citywide needs assessment for early childhood. So we've completed that study, and now we have, I think, a good understanding or set of information around kind of where are the other investable opportunities in order to build out this comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
So facilities, for example, we know we're going to have to address.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, that's a big
Data
problem.
collection.
Yeah.
And just overall program quality across the board.
Yeah. And is there going to be a link back to the public schools at some point? I mean, this is the beginning of public schooling.
Actually, the public schools are already a good partner with some of the newly named Head Start agencies, and that some of the agencies are actually using classrooms in school buildings that perhaps the schools used to be running the program, but now the agencies are leasing it from them. So there's already a strong partnership, and that's working well where they're trying that.
Okay. All right. Thank you both for being here, and let's hope we hit that goal of 1,500 more kids in Head Start.